Hey folks, it's Tom at Frugal Prepper. I'm out here working in the garden a little bit. I had to secure my T-frames. They were starting to lean, so I put a 2x6 in here to hold them up because they were leaning over, and that's what these T-frames did last year, and they fell over. I have to get some more wood in here still and fix this bed. But I got all the weeds pulled out of the end of it. I got my onions down here. They're really tiny yet, but they're alive and growing. But here's my weeds. All right, so here's my weeds. I have this half of the bed is some ancient Egyptian kind of wheat. And this half of the bed is like, it's an old wheat that came over with the Amish. I'm gonna try them both and see which one I like the best. But I might not get to try them this year. I might have to save the seeds off of them. I have this problem with Baker's Creek seeds quite often, and that's a low germination rate. I think they're just saving their seeds too long, right, and trying to sell them, and then you have a low germination rate. Not the end of the world. I mean, I love Baker's Creek seeds because they are planting or they're preserving heirloom varieties, which you can just replant the seeds and grow the same plant again the next year. And I think that's absolutely fabulous that they're doing that, especially now, like getting potted plants from like Bonnie's Plants. You know, you can get a lettuce plant for $5.98, and it's like I could buy 3 heads of lettuce for that much at the store. What are you guys thinking? You know, why? You know, and you know, those plants are super expensive, and you'll have more in getting plants for your garden than you would if you just went and bought the produce. So being able to save your seeds and reuse them is important. I save my tomato seeds, except for my celebrities, which are hybrid, but I really love celebrity tomatoes. Everything else I grow is an heirloom, right? My beans are an heirloom. My peppers are heirlooms, you know, and so I can replant those seeds year after year and get another harvest. And the plants and the seeds, they become acclimated to your growing conditions as well over time. So they're better able to survive. But I have this problem. I planted this bed really thick with wheat, you know, and maybe 10% of them sprouted, right? 10% of them germinated. Again, I'm not unhappy. I'll save the seed from this year. I'll grow it, save the seed. I might, if I have enough, I might grind up a cup of flour out of each one to see which one I like the best. And then I'll have good fresh seed to plant next year, and it'll sprout really well. But just be aware, if you're doing an heirloom seed like from Baker's Creek Seeds, a lot of times that first year that you plant it may have a low germination rate, and then when you save the seed and plant it the next year, it's really great. Now things like lettuce, onions, cabbage, those don't produce seed the first year that they grow. So like onions, when I want to save seed, I leave some onions in the bed, and then I have to let them grow to seed the next year. They grow to seed the second year. It's the same thing with lettuce. But here in Ohio, lettuce will freeze and die over the winter, so you can't really get the lettuce seed. But lettuce seed's really cheap to buy in quantity, and you can plant a big bed of lettuce. Things like cabbage are like that too. Cabbage will overwinter a little bit better, right? I have had a cabbage survive over the winter and give me seed, but I don't grow cabbage because cabbage loopers are just crazy here, and I've never grown a successful head of cabbage. It's always gotten eaten by the cabbage loopers, and it's full of worms, right? So I don't grow that in Ohio. But if you live in California, by all means, grow lettuce and cabbage. However, I'm trying to grow this wheat this year. I make bread. I make a sourdough bread with flour, water, salt, and yeast. But I say it's a sourdough. I do have sourdough in the freezer, preserved, but I actually use instant yeast. I just like the flavor and the ability for that bread to rise better, but I long ferment it so it kind of tastes like a sourdough. I ferment it 14-16 hours and then, you know, let it, and then fold it over, let it rise. But I don't eat much bread, but my family likes bread, and they're not overweight, fat, and they haven't been diabetic, right? They're not on a carnivore diet. So I make the bread for them because it's so much better than the bread you can buy in a bag at the store that has 20,000 ingredients in it, and chemicals and wood and everything else. So I'm trying to grow my own wheat. Now I use organic flour, which is not supposed to have Roundup sprayed on it. It can have some overspray though if it's grown near other crops that use Roundup. But, you know, wheat is one of those things that they actually spray it to make it die, and then they harvest it. So it has active Roundup on it when you're eating it, right? And they put it in everything these days. Everything that comes in a box at the grocery store or a bag has this Roundup wheat. And Roundup might cause cancer, it might do lots of things, but one thing we know that it does is it's an antibiotic, and it kills your gut bacteria and makes you have gut problems. So that's why a lot of people, I think they have celiac disease, right? And they think it's a gluten intolerance, but it's not. It's really a Roundup intolerance is what it is. So I'm going to try to grow my own wheat and grind my own flour, so I know there's no Roundup. You know, I know there's no Roundup. I know it's healthy. But we'll see which of these wheats I like the better, the ancient Egyptian wheat or the, you know, ancient Amish wheat. And we'll see which one makes the best flour and makes the best bread, if I have enough to make a loaf of bread. If not, I might just have to save both seeds this year, plant them both again next year, and then see. But, you know, if this works and I can grow nice big beds of wheat, I plan on adding another bed to the garden and growing 2 beds of wheat, and or just expanding it, you know. Less grass, more food. You know? Food's getting expensive. And yeah, I like onions. I still like peppers. I like tomatoes. I make my own fermented ketchup. And I do make a salsa that I have once in a while. So I don't eat those things a lot. Like that's maybe 5 to 10% of what I eat. But I do still eat them, and I like them, and I think it's nice to have some flavor once in a while in your food. But yeah, there's my asparagus. It's growing up nice and tall and proud. We're just letting that grow for a couple more years before we harvest it and try to eat any of it, because it's still catching on. But yeah, all right, this is Tom, your Frugal Prepper. I'll see y'all later.